Next on the agenda is Stonecrest zoning ordinance and overlay update by Mrs. Q, Director Q, I'm sorry.
Same person. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. The zoning ordinance and overlay, can you hear me?
Very clear.
The zoning ordinance and overlay update. A contract was executed in August of 2025 for professional services to Inspire Placemaking Collective Incorporated. The official notice to proceed took place in September of 2025 with several kickoff and steering committee member meetings taking place in October. Again, we want to thank the steering committee members for their participation and dedication to this project. Kirby Frazier, Darrell Taylor, Juanita Shepard, and Mr. Rob Smith. So we appreciate your participation. We've had community engagement meetings in district. Those district meetings were, they started in March at Lou Walker, and then we had a meeting at the Stonecrest Library. And of course, we have the informational boards out tonight if participants or the community wanted to join us tonight for feedback. For a more detailed overview of what has been accomplished and where we are with the zoning update, Ms. Nakisha Smith, our project manager, is joining us from Inspire Placemaking and Collective Incorporated. And she should be attending virtually. So the continuation of this presentation will begin with her.
Hi, good evening. I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Awesome. Thank you, Director Q. And good evening to all the council members. Thank you for this opportunity to do a brief presentation this evening in terms of where we are exactly in terms of the Stonecrest zoning ordinance update. I do have a presentation. Would you like me to share the screen, or will you be able to pull that up on your end?
If you can share, that would be great.
Okay.
Yes, you can share.
Okay, and are you able to see the screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay, excellent. So good evening, my name is Nakisha Smith, and I'm actually the project manager for the consultant team. As Director Q mentioned, we are Inspire Placemaking Collective, and we are a planning firm with offices throughout the East Coast. My office is here in Miami. We also have offices in Atlanta, which is where most of the support staff for this project is located. And the purpose of this project is, in summary, is to modernize our zoning and land development regulations for the city of Stonecrest. What does that mean? In terms of the zoning ordinance, just for the benefit of the public or those that might not be familiar, the zoning ordinance is a very important tool that the city uses to guide how land can be used within the city, how buildings are built, what types of uses that the city allows for businesses and where they're allowed to be placed. It also sets standards such as where you can put your fence line, how far back your home can be from the street. So it really is a tool that's used to guide the growth of this community in an organized way and in a very predictable way. Stonecrest, on top of the general standardized zoning ordinance, also has several zoning overlay districts. So as part of this update, we're not just looking at the base zoning, we're also looking at your overlay districts. You have Arabia Mountain, the Stonecrest area overlay district, and then we have the I-20 corridor overlay districts. So that's also included as part of our review for this update. These, as you can see here, are some of the goals of each of the overlay districts. They have different focus areas and different goals that the city wants to achieve through each of these overlay districts. And so part of this review and this update is to make sure that the overlays are working as they should, and the goals that the city has are being achieved through these districts in addition to the standard zoning. So again, in updating this code, some of the steps that we're taking is that we are, first of all, looking to review the structure of the code, the flow of the code. We want to make sure that the code is very easy to use and to understand. We don't want a code where you have to have an architectural degree or be a civil engineer to be able to understand and read exactly what is going on when you take a look at the code. We want it to be very clear, no confusing language, not contradictory. We also want to make sure that what we get built within the city of Stonecrest is a quality design. So we also want to make sure that the review procedures, it's very easy for staff to do reviews and also to administrate the code, it's very streamlined, and it's also easier for residents, developers, and those that use the code to have an idea very clearly of the review process, what is expected through the review process, and the development outcomes that they're going to achieve. We also want to make sure that it's a very inclusive process. And so, as Director Hugh mentioned, we've had several community meetings, and we'll kind of go into that in a little bit more detail in some other slides. One of the first things that we look at when we look at updating the code is that we want to make sure that it aligns with your comprehensive plan. So the city of Stonecrest has several different goals, objectives, and policies that it wants to achieve through its comprehensive plan. And so we take a look at the comp plan and we pull out some of those objectives and goals that we might be able to incorporate into the actual land development code. So, for example, you'll see one of the goals are to prioritize public safety. When we had our meetings with the public, safety is something that came up very often. So, how would that translate into a land development code? One of the things that we talked about in some of our community meetings is using crime prevention through environmental design, which pretty much is the idea that the way that you build a building can actually enhance safety. So before the building is even operational, the way that you design the building, it can either enhance safety or it might encourage behavior that's not wanted. And so that is one way that the land development code will connect back to the city's comprehensive plan. And that's just one example of how we try to use the code as a tool to implement the comprehensive plan and those overarching goals that the city wants to achieve. So some of the tasks of the project you can kind of see here, that there's a lot involved in terms of doing an update to the code. We talked a little bit about the review, so reviewing the base districts, reviewing the overlay districts. We also look at the zoning map. And then, of course, we have our community engagement and outreach. And we're kind of coming to the end of that outreach process to where we now start to begin taking a lot of the feedback that we've gotten and starting to begin to draft the actual document, to start to update some of the sections. That's kind of the next phase that we're going to be getting into here. And then, of course, that will be brought back to you for review and adoption and discussion. This is the community meeting schedule. And so we anticipate that the writing period would be over the next 2 to 3 months, and that we would have a public draft workshop where the public will come and give us feedback on some of the language, the text that we might have added, that they would be able to come and give us feedback on that before we actually bring it back to the council for those adoption hearings. And as Director Q mentioned, there are some activity boards that you'll see out in the lobby today. And these kind of mimic some of the engagement activities that we've had to date. We wanted to, for example, get an idea of what are some of the designs that people like. So, for example, one of the things that we heard was that, hey, we need a downtown, okay, and entertainment districts. That was really a big thing. So, very some more family friendly. And so, what we did is that we created these design boards where the public's able to give us feedback on different elements of entertainment districts, for example, in terms of whether they like those or not. It would be a dot exercise, and they would put dots green if they liked it, red if they didn't. And you'll see an example here throughout different elements, plazas, courtyards, some entertainment facilities might have games, interactive play, pedestrianized streets, for example. And we did that for several different types of uses. For example, in the code right now, we don't have anything that specifically speaks to outdoor dining. And for restaurants, outdoor dining can really be a great way for them to increase the square footage and the reach of their restaurant space. And so we're thinking of incorporating some language that would start to allow this, but we want to make sure that it's done right, it's done properly. And so you'll see here some examples in other places, and a lot of these are local to Georgia of how it's done already. And so we would get those feedback and preferences from the public in terms of what features and elements that they like in terms of the outdoor dining. We also, of course, with Arabian Mountain, had to make sure that we included trails and nature. One of the topics that came up in a lot of the community meetings that we have was in terms of the tree preservation and protecting the natural habitat. That was really a big topic of discussion in terms of our public and community meetings. So we wanted to make sure that we also had some design preferences that spoke to that natural element of the city. So in terms of incorporating new uses, we also took a look at some of the uses that already exist in the code and in terms of what folks thought about those. So some uses that we wanted to find out, hey, do you think that there needs to be additional standards? Are you happy with the way that it's operating now? So we gave people the opportunity to give feedback on those uses that already exist in the city. Some of the uses that the community thought might be in excess. We had gas stations, for example. So you'll see here in the first corner, in the first column, should there be a minimum distance between similar types of business? So this is something that we might want to look into as we progress in the code, just kind of taking that feedback, for example, in gas stations. Maybe we might want to have distances between gas stations, distances between smoke or tobacco business. We've also heard that people want more quality dining. No more chicken joints is what they told us at the community meetings. So that's something else that we might want to take a look at. We want to make sure also that we're attracting more grocery stores, more grocery options, quality grocery options. That was something else that we heard in terms of the feedback from those community meetings. And in addition to the existing uses, there's also some emerging uses that are coming out. So we're also taking a look at those. We know data centers is a big emerging use that a lot of cities and counties are dealing with right now. Drone delivery. So we're also researching those topics that are hot topics and emerging trends within the planning world as well. We also gave citizens, residents, developers, business owners the opportunity to do a mapping exercise so that they can take each district. We did a map for each district, and they were able to go ahead and pin what type of uses that they would like to see more of. So you'll see the different categories of uses here on the maps. It includes housing, economic development like jobs and services. If persons wanted to see more parks, more open space. We also have mixed use, industrial, entertainment, and agritourism, which is something new that we heard feedback on, and so we went ahead and incorporated that into our maps. In terms of where people might want to see that type of use incorporated throughout the city, and again, we did one for each district there. And lastly, we have our project website. This is another way that persons can stay involved with the project through our project website. You'll see the web address there. And there's also a survey on there and mapping exercise that you can that you can go ahead and take. And so with that, I'll open it up for discussion.
Thank you. Council, do you have any questions?
Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes, Councilwoman Smith.
question regarding this assessment and how many other cities has the company that we're utilizing? Are there other cities around that they've done an assessment for?
An assessment or an
This type of activity,
a zoning.
zoning,
update?
yes, ordinance
I would-
updates.
Ms. Smith, to answer that question? If she's still here.
Yes, we've done, I would say probably currently we're working on about 60 updates to the code. Right now, in terms of Georgia, we're working in College Park, Georgia, doing their land development regs and comprehensive plan. We're over in East Point as well, in terms of some cities that are kind of close to the Stonecrest area. But we have, I would say, about 60 projects going on nationwide in terms of land development.
Any discoveries that you have found working with those other cities that Stonecrest might be interested in knowing or highlighting for us? Or you haven't made it to that point yet?
I think we haven't made it to that point yet, but I will say one of the unique things again about Stonecrest is really that Arabian Mountain and just the natural features that you have here. I think that could be an exciting opportunity. We've looked at potentially maybe glamping, or again, like I said, other types of nature and play areas and trail uses. So kind of enhancing the trail so you're not just walking there, but maybe even opportunities for economic development. So that's something that's really really different and neat, I would say, about Stonecrest. But we also do best practices reports and reviews. So we do look and see, you know, what's going on in other communities that we might want to incorporate here. So part of our review is also that we do a best practices report, and we kind of provide some examples of what either local communities or communities, you know, regionally or nationally are doing that might be of interest in terms of the city of Stonecrest.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes, Councilman Turner.
Director Cowie, when it comes to an update, I'm looking at it as saying that something needs to be fixed. And we identify what's broken in terms of what's not working, what's an impediment to the growth of the city, development potentials. And what are the things that are working against us that we need to address through this process? Because I look at the overlay for the mall, well, the Stonecrest overlay. And at one point, it looks like it allows the developer to do whatever the developer wants to do without any restrictions. And we know the intent was to make sure that we don't allow developers to run unchecked, but at the same time, we want to attract high-end development. So can we pinpoint those things that are simply not working and need to be fixed versus just going in and saying, we're going to fix everything? and not know what's broken or appears to be broken.
Well, thank you for that feedback, Councilman Turner. We, not only is staff reviewing with the consultant team because we're on the inside and we see the requests and we understand the requests, but we also want the public from the outside to look in on what we can do best. You've already answered your own question of everything does not need to be repaired. And again, as we told our participants on last Wednesday, everything in the zoning code is based on interpretation. And it is not a wrong interpretation because a development cannot happen the way that a developer or a potential business owner would like for it to happen. We would like to pat ourselves on the back as being professionals with long years of experience in planning and zoning, and we're able to understand how the code works and what is allowed and what's not allowed. And that's what we're reviewing. We also have a legal review of the ordinance as well to make sure that we are up to date and modern on the not only the wording, the language that's in the code, so it can be not only interpreted from the inside, which is staff, but from those who are coming to the city of Stonecrest. I hope that answers your question.
I see economic developments in the House,
Yes.
and that is something that we're really concerned about, and that is the impact that this has on the economic development of the city, because that will impact everything else. So we're working very closely with economic development to determine that we're getting what needs to attract economic development. Are we already attractive enough? Will this detract from some of those things that we're trying to get?
We're very much attracting economic development proposals to the city of Stonecrest, and we are working with the economic development team to help us enhance what those questions may be when a proposed development or a business that wants to be housed in the city of Stonecrest. So we are working like hand in hand. When he moves, I move. That's correct.
Okay. I want to touch on another area, and that is Arabia Mountain. And I love the greenery, the green space. And are you looking at its impact on, well, the Arabia Mountain overlay, its impact on economic development? Is there anything to be addressed there? Is it perfect as is? So those are some of the questions you're going to deal with, because it is restrictive. Is it too restrictive? Is a question that's being asked by some. So I'm just asking that you take a look at it. And it's beautiful. I love it. Pigs love it. But is it too restrictive for the economic development or the development that we're looking to grow in Stonecrest?
We will surely look at that.
Okay. And is this an effort to simply point out the issues or to go ahead and enact legislation to change things?
Both.
Okay, but they will come in order.
It will come.
Okay, we'll talk about the order. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem, I
Yes, Council.
apologize. Councilman Turner, I apologize. I yield.
Yield. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Mayor Pro Tem. Director Cowie, and also Miss
Smith.
Miss Smith. Thank you we got two Smiths in the house. So I just wanted to check in first off on the timeline of where we're at. I know we're in the preliminary stage, but as we've gone through, where in the phases are we at towards that final legislative piece before council?
I think during the presentation, Councilman Five, Ms. Smith did present the timeline on where we are. This is the feedback. We're looking for this open engagement, community feedback, the surveys, the comments. We're looking for that at this stage. Again, June, July, I think she did state that we will start reviewing the sections where we've heard, well, all sections, but we will be reviewing all sections to incorporate the edits, the feedback that we've heard, and also the discussions that we will have with the steering committees and the open houses that we will continue to have, so we can be as transparent as possible before the final product is presented to mayor and city council. So we will continue to have these open meetings, to have these discussions with the public and yourselves. Please, at any time, if you have feedback, we are here to receive that as well.
That's excellent to hear. Second piece was, are we marrying I know that we have the matrix fee study that we had here. Is that also being considered in this project? I know that we've had a couple of studies and pieces there, and just wanted to make sure that I know that this is parts of the car, but different pieces. One's a wheel on driver's side, one's on the passenger side. Are we also considering those pieces as to how those will affect our fees?
The fee study we actually took out as a part of the tasks or the deliverables for the zoning update, because we were doing the matrix fee study. So the part where we were adopting or reviewing fees, we actually did in addition, incorporated it to have additional open houses or community meetings for the people to give us feedback. The matrix fee study is there, and we're looking to hopefully have that reviewed and adopted soon, so that part of the study we won't have to address.
Excellent. And then finally, just a request. I know that you and I talked a little bit about doing this as separate legislation, but just may as well marry it into this project. That thing we talked about with um, certain burgeoning industries coming into the city of Stonecrest and ensuring that they have the fair and proper regulations, especially around certain distances. So we can make sure that that's implemented into this for that final piece. I'll be looking for that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Council, any other questions?
Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes, Councilwoman Smith.
one last question. For those in the community who would like an understanding of how this links or impacts the comprehensive plan, do you mind giving just a little bit of the impacts, how they relate to one another, what you're doing and the comprehensive plan?
Question. Our comprehensive plan is the future outlook or the land use of what is proposed for the city of Stonecrest. When, just to give you a little bit of feedback, when staff does a report for a proposed project that wants a rezoning, not only does it have to comply with the zoning ordinance and the regulations that we've established, it must also be in compliance with our land use. And that's the underline, what we see the future of the city of Stonecrest being developed as. So that compliance goes with the zoning ordinance and the permitted uses. So what we see, the vision or the goals or the outcome in the comprehensive plan will mirror what we see in the zoning ordinance, so that we can make sure that all are in compliance, no one is off. But if you see cases and you see me coming before you for a zoning case, it's because somebody is a little bit off with their request, so they have to come and ask for permission. You're welcome.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes, Councilman Turner.
let me just say that when the presentation opened, it talked about modernizing our codes and whatnot, as if we're living in the log cabin and horse and buggy days. Well, I understand that 8 years old, I would hope we are somewhat modern, and to modernize it even more to fit some other standards, but kind of give us a feel, not now, as to some of those things that are really outdated in terms of the way we do our zoning. In addition to that, I think this is a great opportunity to educate the public, because a lot of times we act purely off of emotion and not out of understanding as to how the zoning and codes work. So the Citizen Academy, again, is a great opportunity for that. And those other opportunities to educate the public on how this process works. So just to point that out and to keep it up. And that does it for me for now.
Thank you, Councilman Turner. Any other questions for Mrs. Q? Ms. Q, I know you mentioned the matrix fee update, and I know we talked about it for a while, but where are we with the process of bringing it before council?
It is my understanding that we are still reviewing the matrix fee study. We're reviewing it with finance, so we all can be on the same pages and make sure that the fees that we're proposing is comparable for the city of Stonecrest.
Do you think that would be ready before council next council meeting, or are we looking more towards May?
For this process, look towards May,
Okay.
the May, so
May.
that will still give us enough time to review for internally and the changes that we need to make here.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank
I
you so much.
appreciate you. Mhm.
Thank you.